morning. Is it from Setster's lap? I can only do what I can do. Nothing more, nothing less. There's no condemnation. Because I can only do what I can do. The same with you. We put so much condemnation on others, but mostly on ourselves, because we believe we got to do this and we got to do that, and then we just cannot do it. No matter how good our intentions, sometimes you just cannot do it. And guess what? It's okay. So this is, I think we're on day 16 of creating a beautiful life. Well, I must say last week, I think 2 days back, 3 days back, I had enough of this series and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm at day 15 and I really do not know how I'm going to get to 30, you know? And no matter how I tried, I couldn't make any videos the last 2 days, I think. And all that comes up the whole time is, I can only do what I can do. So that is the most amazing lesson, you know? And especially when we are young parents, young married, whatever, in a work situation, we feel so not good enough, because there are really, really so many things that we would love to do and plan to do, and then we just cannot do it. No matter how hard we try, we just cannot do it. Guess what? And here comes the good news. Because we're not supposed to do it. You know, the life in us, our spiritual source, I call it my spiritual father, is also the spiritual father, the source of everybody else. And each one of us are here in this realm to learn and grow and, just grow. And the same with our kids, you know, if you stop them from falling every single time, they will not learn how to get up. I'm now talking about a very little child or whatever. That's how they learn. That's how we learn. That's how others learn. Our kids, even my kids, they are now grown up. They are 35 and 34. And no matter how much I want to help at times, they either don't allow me or things just didn't turn out so that I can help. Because they also need to grow. And so there's no condemnation in Christ. That is what I've learned. And Christ just means the life in me, as this is the same as the life in you, as our Father, our source's life. The life in us, the abundant life. Not life as we see it in this realm, but the deeper life in us that keeps us alive, you know. That is what is in control. Is that me is not in control. And then life and my situations, they are not turning out as planned, and I become discouraged. I feel a failure, and you become depressed. But the awesome thing is, you will do. That's what I had to learn these past couple of years. you will do, the life in you will make sure that you do what you need to do. As simple as that. And it will also stop you from doing what it doesn't want you to do. So you are totally out of control. So just to learn to walk moment by moment in this realm and just to make peace with we are not in control. We are doing exactly what we're supposed to do. We are where we are supposed to be. Another thing that came up over this weekend, some of you wrote to me how difficult your lives are and that you need to do things that's hard, so you cannot actually do all the other things you want to do. That's life. Really, we all go through very, very, very tough situations where we have to do things and are placed in situations where we really do not want to be, you know? And I also had to learn in those times. I learned perseverance. I've learned patience. I've learned to surrender, to just give up, to just come at the end of to the end of myself so many times. I mean, you may look at my life and think, oh my goodness, that woman's got the most wonderful life. But I've learned to sieve through my life, scratch through my life, and savor those things that really makes me come alive and share that. At this stage, as most of you know, my one eldest son lives in Thailand with his kids and wife. We see them perhaps once a year. It's hard for a grandma to not be with her grandkids, you know, but I've got to make the best of it. That's why I had to learn to make my life where I find myself full to the brim, to overflowing of things that makes me come alive and feel alive. Otherwise, I will sit in ashes, you know, in depression, because I long for my kids and, oh, this is not how it's supposed to be. We got to be with our kids. And my other son lives in Cape Town. I see him on and off. And husband at this stage really struggle with his intestines again. You know, I can really sit here and share the things in my life that's hard. There's many. Every day I got to do things that I got to do. The life in me just forces me or allows me to do them, even I don't want to. And then there are those things that I want to do that I'm not allowed to do. So I have to make peace with my journey of where I find myself in this moment. Oh my goodness. I think about 20 years ago, we had a friend, you know, and another thing, we're all on this road up the mountain to home, enlightenment, you know, where we really realize who we are and find ourselves in this realm. Realize that we are just life and light and unconditional love and whatever. And in order to find the light, you got to go through darkness. You can only find light in darkness. And I had this spiritual friend. She helped me to walk through very, very dark times. And she always said, you got to make peace with your journey. That was that time when we were really busy losing our business and our house and everything. So it was a very tough time. And she always just said, make peace with your journey. Make peace with your journey. Be where you are and make peace with it. Start where you are, where you find yourself, and find your peace in the midst of that. There's little things that you can be thankful for. Because I've also learned it's in that spirit of thankfulness that we grow, and more things to be thankful for are born, call it that, and that is the most amazing thing. So no matter where you may find yourself, and believe you me, I know how tough it can be. Oh boy, at times. But wherever you may find yourself, make peace with that. Realize that's where you're supposed to be at this stage, to grow whatever you need to learn, to get free of. It's about you and your growth. And no matter how hard it is, but just get into that spirit of gratefulness. Just find those things that makes you come alive, feel alive, glad to be alive. Even no matter how difficult it is to find them. Look for them, search for them, and then do those things as much as you possibly can to bring you more and more in that spirit of gratefulness. So the only thing that I could actually do this weekend, I'm now talking about my art journey and making my videos and whatever, was yesterday we walked to the beach again. I think my previous video was the previous 2 days back on the beach. So we went walking again. It was raining the whole day, and then we decided, we just got to get out of the house. So we went for our walk. And every time I go, I cannot tell you, no matter how difficult it is to get dressed, get out of the house, get the dog on a leash, close all the windows, and all the stuff to get going. But as soon as you are there, in the midst of the beauty of nature, something happens. Yesterday it was just seagulls all over the place. And as we were walking to the beach, I saw this junk lying. Thank you. And I thought, when I'm coming back, I'm going to pick that up. So as I was watching TV last night, I was just creating this with things that were in my little bag. So I glued on, tore that one up more, glue some seagulls, just did the sea and something from a photo I took. Very, very low-key. But that was just me just being grateful, and in that spirit of gratefulness, I just created this in my new sketchbook. I cannot tell you how many times I went into my workroom to do something, to start something. I just couldn't do it. Then I just walk out. And then I tried to make a video, and then I couldn't. Then I just leave it. And today my gardener came, and he's busy outside, and I was just looking for a place to just sit and drink my cup of coffee after I made breakfast, cleaned the kitchen, and my bed was just my place. Excuse me, to share this message. So my precious friend, you are perfect. You are doing great. You are doing exactly what you're supposed to do in order to grow and learn. And I've read this, and I wrote it down on the front page of my new sketchbook. And I just want to share this with you. When you go to sleep tonight, I hope you know how beautiful you are. How you are nothing short of a miracle. I hope that you never hold your life up to that of another and find it wanting. What you are is a fertile place, a green wildness that holds water. You are breath. You are heart. You are presence. You are a story. You are real. You are here. Isn't it awesome? It's by Liesl Graham, but it really spoke to me in a powerful way. Especially when I thought, you guys mustn't think that my life is more than yours. Oh boy, that's what I say. It may look beautiful. I've got the gift to make anything look beautiful. That's my gift. So I share with you the beautiful parts. But in the midst of the beautiful parts, I share my light. But in the midst of my light to shine, there's so much darkness. Because the brighter the light, the more darkness. So in this dark, dark world of ours, in this realm, you know, we got to grow. Our light, there is a light. Everybody's got a light. But some are at this stage still so bound by the things of this world, especially the things in our mind. Fears, resentment, racism, trying to be in control the whole time, self-pity, name it whatever it is. And those are the things that keep us hostage and in darkness and keep the light from shining forth brightly. So for me to shine at any given time, I needed to go through much darkness. I've been there, and some days I am still have to find my way through very, very tough situations. And I need to find my peace and my joy in the midst of all of this that I am going through, the same as you. So never compare your life to others. I'm going to read it again. When you go to sleep tonight, I hope you know how beautiful and unique and precious you are. How you are nothing short of a miracle. You being here in this time, in this realm, is a freaking miracle for us to be here. I read somewhere or heard somewhere how dark it really is in this earthly realm. And we're here. What a blessing to be able to be here and shine our light, no matter how faint at times. But we're still here. We are growing. I see the seed in the ground. It's dark. It's damp. It's terrible down here. There, you think you're dying, but guess what? You are growing into something else that's going to emerge into the light. That's where the biggest miracles happen, is in the darkness, in the damp places, in the dark. When we, as I said, when we went through the most difficult times, that is where the most growth took place in me, where I learned compassion to others. I now know how others feel that go through difficult times because I went through it. My husband, let me tell you, he's a civil engineer, but at times financially it went so, bad. He had to do whatever he could find his hands to do. And at times he was putting in bathrooms for a precious friend of ours, the very, very rich friend. He's got all these guest houses and stuff. And at that times he needed more bathrooms for all his guest houses. So he asked husband to do it, and husband did it. I cannot tell you how many toilets he put in, on his knees, putting in toilets, working, doing it all himself. I mean, I remember one time I was there with him helping, and this rich woman came in with a little handbag under her arm, and she looked at us, especially at him, very, okay, and nose in the air. And that taught us humility. I mean, really, all of a sudden, Mr. Engineer with the M degree, master's degree, had to do what he had to do. I remember another time we were fixing another friend's house. They pay us next to nothing. And I was working, I was paving in this smart neighborhood. And I was on my knees, paving in mud. My clothes, in an overall. And these smart women in their cars drove past and looked at me. You know how. And I grew through that. Now I don't care where I am, with who I am just me. That set me free, oh boy, from proud. I was proud. I was a proud person, I grew up on a farm, on a racehorse farm. And, we didn't have lots and lots of money, but we always had enough. And I was rich growing up. So, life brought me to my knees, believe you me, over and over, at the end of myself. And there I've learned humility, compassion to others. The same with my husband. We now have compassion to those people who put in the toilets, those who sweep the floors. And because we've done it, we had to do it. We had to let go of our pride and ideas of how our life was supposed to turn out, because believe you me, at stages it didn't. It didn't. And it brought us to our knees, where we could just cry out and say, Father, help, we are dying here. We didn't have enough money at one stage to buy toilet paper. Really, So I know how that feels. I've been there. And then miraculously, out of the blue, we don't know, we just get what we need. At number 99.9, we got what we needed to keep going. But as I said, at that stage, I was at the end of myself, crying mostly, very sorry for myself. I was in self-pity. And there in my nothingness, I had to cry out and learn to look for the things that I can be grateful for. And that's how I got out of that. And I just want to share, we don't have a pension fund and all those things. Husband is still working. Whenever jobs come in, we do it. Whenever money comes in, or art workshops, I do it. But we've learned to be content in our situation. And we've learned through years of very, very tough times to trust the life in us, who always comes through. But we had to learn that our life in this realm is never going to turn out as we wanted and wished and believed it should. We had to make peace with it. We had to let go of our plans of how our life and our kids' life and the world and the country is supposed to turn out. We had to let it go and learn to go with the flow of what is happening. Make peace with it, learn from it, and you know what? You learn about yourself, what manifests in this situation. As I was paving and full of mud and working like a real worker, I mean my hands and everything, you should see me, and the smart people, women drove past looking at me. What was manifesting? Self-pity was number one. Gosh, I felt very, I was very filled with self-pity. Poor me, look at me, blah, blah, blah. So I had to work with that. That was my problem. Not the smart woman driving past, but what I felt in the situation. I had to deal with my self-pity. Me feeling better than others, so I cannot really do. Why should I do this job? And blah. I had to deal with those things. I had to deal with my pride, with my self-pity, with racism. I had to work with people of other races, and they became my closest allies and friends. So that is why we are put in situations, so that we can deal with our enemies. And our enemies are always the things that's keeping us hostage. As I said, my self-pity. I thought I was too good to do this kind of job. And pride. And as I said, racism and whatever. And I grew in the process. I was there buried. Let me tell you, that stage of my life, I was knocked off my pedestal. And I was buried in darkness. But that is where I grew and learned all these things that I'm sharing with you. I walked through this. I know where you are. I know how you feel. I can tell you so many times of when I came to the end of myself. At one time, I was lying on the floor crying. I felt so sorry for myself. And I felt intense hate towards God and my husband for putting me in this situation and who know what not. And I felt hate rising up in me. It was scary. And at that time, because I believed at one time it was my husband that was wrong. Why didn't he get right jobs? Why didn't, it's his fault. He's doing things wrong. So I was blaming him. Then I was blaming the government, because at that stage we moved into a new government. So now it's the government that is. So I was blaming everybody else. And I was so full of hate. And let me tell you, on my knees in the bathroom, when the Spirit breaks you open out of your darkness, you cry in no longer tissues. That doesn't help. So I was there crying out, and I just said, Father, just get this hate out of me. That is destroying me. I thought it's going to kill me. That absolute presence of intense hate. It's scary, this stuff. When you start to walk and the Spirit gets hold of you and starts to set you free from your enemies that is always in you. As I said, things like hate, things like self-pity. Remember, I told you how many times that I was adopted and how I was in my the hospital for 6 days before I was adopted. and that aloneness and that rejection, seeds that were sown in me even from before my birth. So all these things became trees and bear fruit, and those things were keeping me hostage and destroying me, the life in me, the abundant life in me, joy, peace, compassion, unconditional love. Those things were being destroyed and smothered because of all my enemies in me. So when you go through these dark, dark times and these things start to rise up in you, like things like self-pity and hate and resentment and whatever, that is what you need to deal with. That you need to say, I don't know, I just, as I said, my spiritual father, my source, life in me, I call it my Father. So I just call out then and say, Father, set me free. Get those things out of me, these things out of me. I want to feel peace and joy, deep, deep peace and joy in the midst of everything I go through in this realm. Because all of us go through very, very tough times and stuff at times. And to feel peace and joy, I'm not saying happy, I mean just a joy and a peace and an unconditional love and a stability in just knowing that all is well, everything is unfolding perfectly. I have in me what I need to get through this, so I do not need to fear. Just to walk in that is to walk in the fullness of life. And that brings so much joy. So, oh my goodness, I'm at 32 minutes. That's what I say. When you go to sleep tonight, I hope you know how beautiful you are. How you are nothing short of a miracle. You are supposed to be here in this time, during this time. And going through these things, when you start to view them as, wow, they for my good, because they show me what enemies I need to deal with that is in me. I hope that you never hold your life up to that of another and find it wanting. Your life is precious, perfect, exactly what you need in order to become whole and set free and delivered and whatever in this realm. What you are, because we're spiritual beings, we're not physically. I'm not, I'm not this body. I'm the life within, the same as you. And I needed this body and this life in this realm for me to grow and be set free from my enemies. So what you are is a fertile place, a place that you can grow in. A green wildness that holds water. You are breath. You are heart. You are presence. You are a story, a beautiful story. Each and every one of us. Man, I'm our book that needs to be read, that needs to be enjoyed with all our beautiful stories. I mean, people always say that you need to write a book. Well, I'm telling you, all of us need to write a book because our lives are so filled with so many things. Some of them very heartbroken, some of them tough, some of them beautiful. But together they make a beautiful story, a beautiful life. You are real, reality. What happens, you are real. And you are here. Love you lots. Is it from Zetstersland?